And now we move into the calcaneus. So now our palpation guide takes us posteriorly. Okay, so the first palpation point that I see coming up on our palpation guide is the sustentaculum tali. Let me actually grab this again. So sustentaculum tali means shelf. Okay, it means shelf. And so when you look at this calcaneus, you'll notice that there's a protrusion on the calcaneus which holds up the talus. Okay, and so this is the sustentaculum tali. So if this is a foot, right, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come in right here and I'm gonna feel a nice bony prominence that holds up that talus. This is the sustentaculum tali on the calcaneus, okay, right there. Off of the sustentaculum tali, the next palpation point is the calcaneonavicular ligament or the spring ligament. So if you listen to the name, calcaneonavicular, it's gonna be a ligament that attaches that calcaneus onto the navicula. Okay, this is the spring ligament. A lot of times it actually comes from down here and kind of comes up this way. So our palpation point is going to be right between that calcaneus and the navicula. The calcaneal dome is simply the region of the calcaneus that comes and sticks out, and then we have a lateral calcaneal border on this, on this outside. And now we start to move into some specific muscles. Okay, so I'll start to roll through these. I encourage you guys to listen to the names of these muscles as you go through. The names of these muscles will tell you a tremendous amount about them. So on this medial side, just posterior to the medial malleolus, we have something called the tarsal tunnel. Tarsal tunnel. Tarsal meaning ankle, and there's a tunnel. Okay, so this region right here is the tarsal tunnel. Inside of this tarsal tunnel, we have several tendons, an artery and a vein and a nerve, nerve, artery, vein. So inside of this tarsal tunnel, we're gonna have our tibialis posterior muscle, our flexor digitorum longus, and our flexor hallucis longus. You may have learned in a previous anatomy class, Tom, Dick, and Hal, or Tom, Dick, and Harry. So as we go through here, we're gonna have several tendons for these muscles. So palpation points for these are right along there. So our next palpation point is the tibialis posterior. So the tibialis posterior muscle comes up off of the posterior side of the tibia, right here, and the tendon is going to come down right through here and attach to this navicular tuberosity right there. So the palpation point is right through here. Okay, the next one is the flexor hallucis longus. Flexor hallucis longus, or hallucis longus, is going to come right through that same region. And what do you think the flexor hallucis longus is going to do? Flex that big toe. So if you will go ahead and just flex your toe. So sometimes if you palpate through here and relax and go again, sometimes we can actually see sometimes these tendons and relax. Let's see if we can see one. Yeah, we can actually see some of this tendon right here on that flexor hallucis longus. Good, and you can relax. And then the last one that I mentioned is the flexor digitorum longus coming through this same region. I'll go ahead and move the toes here, see if we can see anything. I don't see too much there. But flexor digitorum longus runs through this same region. Additionally, we're gonna have our posterior tibial artery. So if you guys bring your fingers in and you bring them in kind of flat, like so, a lot of times you can feel a pulse back here on this medial side.